When you're 6 years old, you typically don't have a lot of responsibilities. You're just starting to learn about the world and are being taught how to read and write. So when my oldest brother, Jimmy, was diagnosed with brain cancer at age 11, I didn't really know what that meant. I didn't really know any of the details until I was older. Before the diagnosis, my brothers and I had all been sick with the stomach virus. When Stephen and I got better, Jimmy was still throwing up. I remember going to his baseball games, and he would run off into the woods to vomit, and then head right back onto the field as if nothing happened. At first, the doctors thought it was just a stomach issue, but after many tests, they never found anything. My parents went to doctor after doctor, and it wasn't bringing them any closer to finding the source of the problem. During one visit, Jimmy was going to get a CT scan of his stomach, but my dad said to the doctor that they had only been treating the symptoms. There had to be something causing it. And that is when he finally suggested scanning his head. On that day, September 28th, 2002, the doctors found the golf ball-sized tumor in Jimmy's brain, and he was brought into surgery just a few days later. Now, none of this was really explained to me until a few years later. I wasn't sitting next to my parents when they found out my brother had cancer, and even though we had frequently gone to previous doctor's appointments together, I definitely did not understand how serious the situation was, or how cancer would change our lives forever. Now, my parents weren't given much time to fully grasp the situation. There were just 4 days in between discovery and surgery. Even with such little time to prepare, my parents tried to keep my other brother Stephen and I living as normal a life as possible while Jimmy had surgery and was going through treatment. But if anyone has ever experienced something as life-altering as this, you begin to live a new kind of normal. There's a distinct before and after, and it takes a while for it to really sink in. Before my brother was diagnosed with brain cancer, he was playing shortstop on a baseball team that ended up winning championship. He would race Stephen and I around the house and always win. He would watch over us and make sure we were okay. He was just like any other kid. After the surgery, all of that changed. This new normal consisted of living at home with our family friend Denise, who moved in with her 2 kids, Paige and Brandon. We saw our parents various times throughout the next 6 weeks, one at a time. And we didn't see Jimmy at all for about a month. The first time Stephen and I visited him in the hospital, we helped him walk down the hallway while he held on to us and the IV pole. And this new normal kept evolving. My brother had his brain surgery on October 2nd. The night before, I slept over at my best friend Olivia's house. I thought it was a little weird because it was a Tuesday night, and I typically didn't have sleepovers in the middle of the week. But I was a kid, so I was excited to hang out with my friend. However, I knew something was wrong when my aunt came to pick me up the next morning. She lives an hour away, so this wasn't typical. I don't think I saw my parents much the next couple of days. My birthday is October 7th, just 5 days after Jimmy's surgery. Denise helped to plan my party, which was a slumber party with all of my friends. And my parents were busy looking after Jimmy in the hospital. It's strange looking back on that time in my life and thinking of how I could have been happy with my friends while my parents were stressed and sad, dealing with my brother. And somehow, they still managed to make an appearance at my birthday party, which really shows you how loving and caring they are. To have to put on a brave face for your daughter after dealing with everything else, I can't imagine how hard that must have been. But somehow my parents remained positive, and in turn, so did Jimmy. My dad always told me this story of when a doctor asked him how he was doing while he was throwing up. He looked up and said, "Great," and then continued to throw up. After my brother's surgery, he wasn't able to talk, and he was paralyzed on his left side. He used my Magnadoodle to communicate, the one with the magnetic pen, and he also used his pinky to tell us when he had to use the bathroom. But the only things we could understand were, "Hi, Dad," and "I love you." In fact, I can still remember listening to a voicemail he left for my dad, and he just talked about his day and just said, "I love you." But it still brings tears to my eyes because it doesn't sound like him. My oldest brother, who was supposed to be the one taking care of Stephen and me, now became the one that we would take care of. And somehow, Jimmy managed to smile every day and was always in a good mood. When he went to get radiation treatment, my dad tried to joke around as much as possible. Jimmy was one of the youngest ones there, and they didn't want him to hate going there since it was going to be a recurring thing. It still amazes me that he was not angry or upset or both, because I know I definitely would have been. But that's how he's always been. No matter what life threw at him, he stayed positive every step of the way. Before Jimmy came back home, our family friends helped us to move all of his things to the first floor. We converted our dining room to his new bedroom, since the stairs would be a problem for him. We had our whole community behind us. This is my view of Newtown, Connecticut before any other events took place there. We took care of each other. People we didn't even know donated money to help my parents pay for the hospital bills. And they put on a fundraiser just for him. We also had people praying for us at churches all around town, some we have never even attended. Our pastor Kathy even came to the hospital to talk to Jimmy and provided emotional support for my family. When Jimmy returned home, he had to use a wheelchair to get around and would still throw up pretty frequently. He was taking steroids, so his face and body became bloated. He no longer looked like himself at all. Along with this new look, he had a new diet. He could only eat certain foods, like shrimp and filet mignon, because everything else would make him nauseous and he'd vomit. He was even particular with the type of pizza he could eat, and basically just ate the tips of them for a while. So he was living quite large for a while. But it honestly made 6-year-old me jealous, because all of this food was specifically for Jimmy, even the dipsy doodles, if any of you know what those are. And I was never able to indulge in any of it. A few times a week when I came home from school, my brother was working with his physical therapist. I loved competing with him, so I would be right by his side doing the exercises. Although I was clearly at an advantage, I tried to push him to do better. Same goes for video games. When he finally gained back proper mobility of both his hands, we would play Mario Kart, and I would never let him win. But it's because I was treating him like a regular kid. I mean, he was still my older brother. I also helped my mom organize his pills and got him food when he was hungry, since it took him years before he progressed from wheelchair to walker to not needing any assistance. During this progression, my family would go to the high school track where we would hold him up as he tried to walk. Each time we went, we would try to get him to walk just a little more. And on that same track, a few years later, is when he would walk on his own for the Survivor Lap at Relay for Life in Newtown. Along with relearning how to walk, Jimmy also had a speech therapist that would help him regain the ability to speak properly. They did speaking exercises, such as practicing alliteration and enunciation. When I look back at how far he has come, I realize how truly blessed my family is. Today, my brother is 27 years old, has obtained his undergraduate and graduate degrees, and has his own brand called I Live Life, IL. He has tried to make his illness and show people that he is living his life to the fullest, because you never know what could happen. He also posts motivational videos every Sunday night at 8 p.m. to help others to stay positive, because being positive has really helped my family over the past couple of years. On top of that, my brother works part-time as a paraeducator at the intermediate school for 5th and 6th graders. He is a role model for these students who have truly begun to love and care about him. They tune in every Sunday night to watch his videos, and some of them have even bought his apparel. He has learned that just by being himself, he is enough. My family has always tried to help others as much as we can, because we were given so much love and support when Jimmy was sick. That's why I'm here today, and so is my family. This event is not just about raising money for the American Cancer Society. It is about sharing your love and support with your friends and family. It is about spreading hope and positivity so that the ones we love don't stop fighting. We all either know someone personally or know a friend whose life has been affected by cancer in some way. It is a tough battle to fight, and not everyone is as lucky as my brother was. And now, as we walk in silence around the track, we remember those whom we have lost and honor those who have fought or are still fighting. We are not alone. Thank you.